Cheaper balls v expensive balls. Should we do the new QSTAR here from Srixon against the ball I game, the ZStar? There's about £5 on the UK market difference between these two sets of balls. Let's see what you get for your money, because I know the price of golf balls might be something that makes you decide what ball you use or not. Maybe in the comments down below, let me know what golf ball you use, and does price play its part? Cheaper v expensive, which one will be better, or is there no such thing as better and worse when it comes to golf balls? "15-yard chip shot to kick us off." So around the greens, are we going to see any more spin or less in one ball over the other? What's noticeable with the QSTAR is that it does have that soft feel, sound and feel, which I think around the greens really appeals to people. Now, when it comes to softer feeling sounding golf balls, I don't see particularly that they work any better in the realms of stopping, but it's something that plays in people's minds that they like the feel of. They do relate it to stopping, definitely still, where I don't think you should do, but we'll see what the numbers come out saying. And if anything, with the QSTAR, it feels like I get a few poppies. So what that means is when I chip, it kind of pops up in the air more than I was expecting. Let's compare that to the ZStar. So in effect, the more expensive ball. See instantly how much lower that went in, and they felt very similar. I did catch that a fraction lower on the face. You do feel like you just get that little bit of grab, which I'm used to in how I play my chips, and if I want to hit a chip, like see a good chip. This one sounds not as soft as the Q. The QSTAR definitely is playing into that idea of soft. That's the Q. You can see from the traces instantly different flights, isn't it? So in the test, I like to hit about 15 shots with each. We swip over after 3 shots with each batch to try and not get any of the patterns, because in a ball test what you're going to see is the human plays out so much because the balls are so close. So let's show you how I did with those 15 shots from the 15-yard chip shot. So you see the ball speeds matching. I'm carrying them both 12 yards, trying to get them to the 15 yards, and you do see a difference in the spin. You see how the ZStar spin jumps up by 600 revs. They are statistically different, so you haven't got the standard deviations particularly overlapping on these two. And the launch, look, with the QSTAR was a fraction higher for me. The 32-degree launch is right in my window for that length of shot. So think about the language I'm using there for me. So yes, I can see why the ZStar is more expensive there. I would pick that. I want that slightly higher level of spin at my beck and call, if you like. But there's plenty of occasions where that spin will bring the ball up too short. So in theory, that's where the QSTAR would have helped on those shots, and then there'll be the other ones where it doesn't stop quick enough, and that's where the QSTAR would hurt possibly even more. It's more what I want to see the ball do, how I visualize the shot. That's got to play into the outcome. And for me, the ZStar does. Now, if you're someone who just hits chips and you wouldn't notice the difference between those poppy ones and the ones that just go forward, again, £5 cheaper in the QSTAR. You might think that's the main objective there. For me, I would buy into the ZStar, but the QSTAR did pretty good. So I'm going to hit my 52-degree wedge now. We're going to go 100 yards, some more of a fuller pitch shot. ZStar to kick us off. Again, I play this ball so I know what it sounds and feels like. That feels good. It's a medium sounding ball, so it's not clicky, but it's certainly not feeling like a bit of putty. Where the QSTAR lacked a little bit of spin for what I wanted, and the trajectory was slightly different. Be interesting to see now we're hitting a fuller shot and the loft is just changing, so less loft, if that plays through or they start coming together. Yep, that feels nice. I think lots of people would make that or contact with the ZStar and think, yeah, it just feels like a nice kind of, it feels like a premium ball. See what the QSTAR offers. Yeah, so it does bleed through from the wedge. Oh, that's not a bad shot. That does feel softer still, because what I'm expecting with the QSTAR is it to actually change its sound, believe it or not, as we go through the loss, which I'll explain to you as we hit a few more. But that one still feels a little bit from that sound, a fraction softer at the 100 yards than the Z. Like blind test, I hit those two, I would be able to tell that there's a difference between them. Would I see one as better or worse from this distance? I'm not sure I would, to be fair. Where with a chip shot I could see a difference. From the 100-yard shot, I'm not sure I can. So let's show you the data from the bigger data set that I caught. Also, just to let you know, this is an indoor test, so I'm testing everything dry and controlled. If the numbers when you test balls are really, really close and overlapping, definitely think about taking them out on the golf course. See if you see anything that's noticeable, any of those sounds and feels feel different when it's wet, because you'll get it on the grass out of a bunker when you putt with it. This isn't like how you test balls. This is just an idea of how you get what you get for maybe for your money when you're looking at different price balls. And if you want me to do this with other brands and other bigger gaps in price, maybe let me know in the comments down below which balls you want me to test and why. I'm sponsored by Srixon, but you use whatever golf ball is best for you. They have no say on the outcome of this video. They don't even know I'm doing it. They just are happy for you to go and test whatever balls you need, and if theirs are in the test, great. What I want you to do though, let me know in the comments down below, you know, do you want me to try like the cheapest golf ball you can against the most expensive? Let me know and I'll test it for you. So going for the 100-yard shot, you can see they're both pitching 97, 98, so they're functioning as well as anything. Spin's very much overlapping. You could argue QSTAR was a little bit more spin, but if that's just an average, if you look at the little number underneath the standard deviation, inferior to ZStar possibly has a fraction more revs potential, but I see them as the same. They're overlapping dramatically, which you can see from the two circles. The bigger standard deviation there is in short and long, and left and right is me playing through. Launch angles now marrying up, ball speeds obviously marrying up as well. So when we get to 100 yards out, I'm definitely going to be using more land angle as a stopping premise, and also with them spinning so similar, apart from the audible sound feel, I'm not getting anything for my extra money there. You can see now that we're really starting to think, well, I can use the cheaper ball. If golf was just a 100-yard shot, like, I wouldn't use the more expensive ball there. So we're now 150 yards out and we're going to start with the QSTAR. Let's see if they start blending. So this is where we now have the QSTAR's clever. This now starts changing, believe it or not, it starts changing its audible tone. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? So basically, as you hit it fuller with a straighter face club, and I'm hitting a 9-iron here, and I'm presenting probably 31 degrees aloft to give you an idea of this 9-iron, what it actually means, because that number isn't relative. We do start hearing, like this now sounds like the ZStar sounded like when it chipped, when I was chipping with it. So it'd be interesting to see if the ZStar transforms its audible tone as you go through the clubs. That just feels like my golf ball, feels good. And you can see they're three pretty decent shots. It's right on the number for distance, it just feels good. So 150-yard ZStar. Now something happens with the medium irons with the ZStar that I think is really interesting. And you're going to see it in these shots. So we're still the same distance, 150. That's a decent shot going, you could say pretty much the same distance as the others, maybe a fraction further. Now the ZStar doesn't particularly change its sound. It flows from the lower or the higher lofted clubs up to this one. It's just feeling and sounding the same. Where the QSTAR definitely came up to this club. Now that's a slight clean one, but it's going into the back, so you can get all of that. I think if you blind tested me now on these two balls at this distance, this club, I'm struggling. I really am going to struggle to see the difference. See the difference. This is where the only difference might be. See how that one's just pushing up more to the back of the green? Let's show you why that is from my batch I collected earlier. So look how tight they are around the 150 mark. I'm carrying 153, 153, and look at the two crossovers in here. For all intents and purposes, I got those balls doing exactly the same, but they got there in different ways. Look at the spin numbers, and this is opposite to what people think would happen. The ZStar is a really unique ball. It spins high down at the bottom end, and then in the medium end, so 9, 8, 7 irons, it actually spins medium to slightly low. Now I like that for my game because I like my irons to try and push on. I'm someone who comes up short a lot on approaches. I'm very rarely, anyone who watches my videos, I don't really fly the green hardly ever. So having that slightly lower mid iron for me helps me just push those distances on, which is something I'm constantly trying to work on. as long as I know how that's going to perform. You can see I can hit the distance, and what happened is, look, it's interesting, over 15 shots I just managed to take 2 mile/hour ball speed off. So I mean, if most people, if you think about it, your long irons, mid irons, say mid irons rather than long, are they flying greens or coming up short? Well, the QStar actually spins statistically higher than the ZStar in this range. Like, it's noticeable. It's one of the biggest standout numbers we'll get from this whole test. Spin is something that's good. It's in the good books. We want more spin, how to spin your chip shots better, you know, and we looked at spin down at the bottom end of what it could and couldn't do. For some people, the highest spinning mid ball, perfect, go for it. So again, listen to the language I'm using. Is one better than the other? Is one worth more than the other? Well, it might be, but actually I want the more expensive ball for the less spin in this one. But you might be the other way around. I mean, the QStar's doing very, very good there. For me, if anything, it's just slightly too high a spinning in the mid-iron range. And what I'm going to do is come up shorter more and more and more. See, I took off the ball speed. Do you see what I mean? I like having plenty of ammo and coming back with my approaches. It plays into how I feel I should hit my approaches. In the comments down below, what do those two numbers mean to you, and which one would you buy into? Because the cheaper ball for a higher spinning mid-iron is good. Remember, stopping this kind of club, I'm going to be using land angle more than anything else. Spin comes into a little bit, but that's enough spin for it to do the thing on the green, which everyone likes to check up and even come back, which you'll see from our videos. You don't get many of the balls checking, but they do, and you see our pitch marks, we talk about them sometimes. Like, there's enough spin for me to control it. So you can see for the money, they're doing pretty good, aren't they? I mean, you can see why one's a bit more expensive, but you can also see why they're close. Shall we end with the driver? I'm going to smash some. What do you reckon in the comments down below? Is one going to perform better than the other with the driver? So ZStar to kick us off. Caught that slightly high toe, but it's working. It's just going to miss the left side on a course, I reckon. Again, the sound just transitions up through. It's consistent through all the clubs, basically. It's a much better drive. When we go to the straighter face clubs, ones that have sound in themselves from the titanium designs, it's that sound that plays through often much more than the ball. And again, a pretty decent drive. So let's go to the QStar and see if we feel any difference. Oh, that's a bomb. Yeah, it is amazing. The QStar now is sounding maybe a fraction louder than the Z. Yeah, not much. I mean, that's out there with the best of them, isn't it? The QStar definitely transitions its sound, which is a really interesting idea, isn't it? I mean, who doesn't want that, like, smashy driver sound? Right, let's show you these, see if there's any difference. So if we look at the ball speeds, they're identical at 158.7 average, but 2.9 standard deviation, meaning these two are really exactly the same. So that's my highest to my lowest. You've got to add 3 on that and take 3 off that. So the variable is bigger, but that's because I hit a slightly bigger variable shots that you can see. See how we got this like weak one out to the right, which I didn't get with the ZStar. So again, it's the human mess that comes through so much in these tests. You can see how similar these really are. Again, the spin's very similar. You get the fraction more ball speed on this one on average with the slightly lower spin, and you get 4 yards extra carry at the most. But again, the standard deviation almost laps these over. I would need to hit a lot more shots to claim that this one was actually, well, in total 5 yards predicted roll difference. Well, that one's coming down and that one's going up. They're going to do what they do, which is overlap. I think sometimes this is sold as different. It's human, they're not different. In the driver, I'm seeing them almost as identical. So on those ideas, which one would you buy and game and why? I'm happy I game this. I just want that little bit more help around the greens. If it came to actually spending lots of money on golf balls and you're losing golf balls, I think the QStar Tour is a fantastic option at a slightly cheaper price. And it would be I'm going to say it, I'm going to put it out there. I think lots of golfers watching this would not see the difference between those two. Their mess would be so much greater on that backs of shots that it would be so hard to see that play through. There'll be the odd occasion where this one checks up a little better on the green and they're going to love it, but there'll be the odd occasion where it doesn't and it comes up short. Vice versa with this one, there'll be ones you don't notice that don't check accordingly and they go close. You're just thinking you hit a good shot. And there'll be ones that don't check up and it pops up higher off the face on those shorter shots and you're going to go, oh, that ball's rubbish. Often with golfers, it's the ones that go wrong that they notice, and when they go right, it's because they did it right. Let me know in the comments down below, which one would you game and why? What golf ball are you gaming and why does price play its part? Well, if you're looking for £5 extra, you can see why you get it out of the ZStar, but it's debatable what is right and wrong for you. Let me know in the comments down below, and again, let me know if you want me to do this with some different brands, so we can do it with Titleist, we can do it with Bridgestone, whoever. We could also do it with maybe crazy cheap balls that you buy God knows where compared to, you know, the branded balls that you're seeing in your pro shops and in the golf shops. Let me know as always. Thanks for watching. Speak to you soon.